Hey, what's up guys? TMax here. Welcome back to the channel. If you recall, a while ago I did a couple videos about some funny signs that I saw with some weird translations and also just some interesting photos that I had just been taking from living in China. Well, I found some more photos, so let's jump right in. Alright, so before 2020, I just remember, riding the train every day and just trying to read everything I could just to practice my Chinese. And after 2020, these signs started popping up. It says, 我们承诺每日对历史进行消毒. And yeah, it's translated perfectly and it's right. It's just, it was a way for me to learn some new vocabulary. And of course on the metro there's no shortage of people wearing interesting clothing. You never know if the person knows what they're wearing or not. Something like if there's a grandma and she has something like super crazy, you can be sure that she probably doesn't know. But this was a young person that just came from traveling somewhere. They might know what this means. So I did a series of videos called Observations on Chinese Culture. I'll put the playlist in the link below. And I was talking about how girls will walk on the heels of their shoes, and I didn't have a photo at the time. And at some point I took this photo. So I guess it either didn't make it into that video because I didn't have this photo yet, or I just overlooked it. But this is what I was talking about. And I believe this is the last photo I took in China. This was on my way to the airport when I was leaving, and I'd ridden Didi millions of times, and I'd never been in a Didi that had like a touchscreen 8-inch LED panel that you can watch TV shows. It was touchscreen. I could have like picked stuff, and obviously it was like commercials and stuff. So Didi was evolving, I guess, at that time. But if you just watch that recent video that I posted, A Fib Knows Part 4, talking about when you first get into Didi, you're so worried about making it to your destination alive, you're not going to be paying attention to this. But then later, as you get used to it, you might be watching what's on here. Okay, so let's get into some of these signs. These first ones are just some like misspellings, and it's funny because nobody there knows, and if they do, most people don't care. So it's chuko, which means parking garage exit, and it says parking exit because nobody bothered to correct them. And this is the building that I used to work in. And in this building, there's only 4 of us who weren't Chinese. So we were the only ones that ever noticed this. So I went to Qinghuangdao, and I was so busy flying my drone that I actually didn't do a vlog there, but I did a drone video. But of course I was at the mall and I saw a whole bunch of things. So I took pictures, and there's the next few photos of this. It's just laziness, right? Personal care. Like they couldn't find a native speaker to, even a non-native speaker would know that that's wrong. You can Google Translate this. Partial is not even a word. And then so in the same mall, they have fire hydrant and fire extinguisher. I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't even know how to pronounce that with English. It would be more like French, like weir. And so there was a whole bunch of these that were misspelled like this, but there were like 2 or 3 that were spelled correctly. And it's like, who is doing this? British English, they'd use lift instead of elevator, but we just saw 2 photos ago that they used elevator for this, for zhiti. And in this one, they wanted to use lift was the translation, but they went with life. So next to the restrooms, you can find life. And then to the left of this, it says zhongting, which is not English at all. It's courtyard is what they were trying to say. But they were like, you know what, we're not even gonna translate that one. Just throw the pinyin on there. The foreigners will get it. So yeah, when you just random products or signs or whatever, you just find these weird translations, and sometimes it doesn't mean anything. You're just like, all right, I don't get it. And sometimes you get what they were going for, but whoever came with the translation was just, I don't know what they were thinking, because heatiness is not even a word in English, but it's they're translating the zhiqi, which is the heat, like steam or vapor. And I guess in this sense for the body, just heat that the body gives off. And yeah, heatiness was what they came up with. So I would love to just walk around saying that word and see if people understand me here. And so we had this work team building trip that we went to. Okay, so this top row says Dongying Tiyu, and they've translated it to doing now, and this is a gym. And the translation would be Dongying is like movement or some sort of cause or motive, and TU is sports, like culture or just sports in general. So like movement culture, or like a sports culture. And you can see Jack's reflection in the picture. I hope you're watching this, Jack. If you're watching this, say something in the comments, because I can see your face. Everybody can see your face. And so again, just like some of these translations, is who even like read this and translated it, or they just said, this is the idea, come up with the English for it. Because the Chinese says, 感谢您不吸烟, which means thank you for not smoking. And so this was in front of the bathrooms, so they're like, okay, men and women bathroom, and then toilet smoke. Smoke is the only thing from that that's a literal translation. Everything else, I don't know where they're going with that. Yeah, so there's warm tips and warm suggestions that you find all over China. It was going well, and then just halfway through, they lost me. In order to reduce environmental pollution caused by washing, please need to replace the linen supplies into our faces the audience linen basket. Somebody was asking me, how well I can read Chinese characters. Normally, if they're standard characters, I can read them. But this, you can see the font, this throws me off. It makes it so hard to read characters. So it'd be similar to like cursive in English. And so I can't even tell you what this was supposed to be because I really can't read the Chinese for this one. And so this one is hilarious. It's 禁止刻画. And so 禁止 is the word for like forbidden, like but really aggressively forbidden. I did a whole video about signs. It'll be somewhere up here. And so 禁止, there's a whole category on that that's just these things that are really, you shouldn't be doing. And so 刻画 is, in this case, it could be graffiti or carving on the wall. So they don't want you basically ruining this, I guess, authentic wall. And it's funny because the English translation was no depicting. First of all, that's a high level word even for English, so some English speakers might not even know what that means, and so they're definitely going to depict things because they didn't know that they were depicting men and they could do it without knowing. No graffiti would have been perfect, or no writing on the wall. I mean, they could have went with a whole bunch of things, and they went with depicting, I don't know. And so this one's really great. So free plethora.
Would you say I have a plethora of piñatas? A what?
The Chinese says 免费登塔. So 免费 means free, dung is to climb, and ta is the tower, because I'm inside a tower, so basically you can go up the tower free. I don't know how they got plethora, like I don't know how to say plethora in Chinese. I had to look it up and it wasn't anything, none of these characters match at all. They say, you know what, we're just gonna mess with them, we'll just throw a random word up there. And that's what they did. So this one's really good because I just really love this translation. The top part's normal, no climbing. And it's funny because there's 6 characters to say no climbing. But the bottom half is really what's great. It's, the English translation is conceited at your own risk. I don't know what the consequences for being conceited are, but if you do it, you're risking something. But the Chinese is 为之后果自负. So 为之 is like a violation or violator, in this case the person, and 后果 is the consequences, and 自负 is like you're responsible. Basically, if you fall off this thing and you get hurt, enter at your own risk kind of thing. 自负 also has a secondary meaning, which could be arrogant or conceited. So they went with the second definition instead of the first one, which is to be responsible for. So this is really good. I love this sign. Just be conceited at your own risk. Like, we should have this sign in America in lots of places. And so every toilet in China has some sort of sign like this in the men's bathroom for sure. And the idea basically is step closer so you don't pee everywhere and, be a decent human being. The Chinese says 靠近文明 贴近方便. And 靠近 is basically like advancing or getting closer to 文明. And this one they put civilization, but it also could be like civility or manners or something, being a decent person. And then 贴近 also means to come closer, and 方便 is convenient. Yeah, we're just gonna translate this straight across. So if it's close to civilization, step forward. If you're far from civilization, step backward. So sometimes you read these in the translation is that something that is pertaining to this area, or is this just in general advice? So do not step on a ladder. So, you don't want me to step on ladders in general because ladders are bad for me, or where are we going with this? Because this is clearly a shelf. So the Chinese says 请勿踩踏 不是梯子, 请勿踩踩 is like please don't step on. And then 不是梯子 is it's not a ladder. So don't step on this, it's not a ladder, is what the sign says in Chinese. And in English, it's don't step on ladders in general, like in your whole life, because they're dangerous. So this is a new one actually. Now that I'm back in the US, I was applying for an apartment and just typing in some information, and for whatever reason, I can't use the word Chinese. I have no idea where this comes from. It's interesting now that I've lived in both cultures, and I see how each culture thinks of the other and how some people have their prejudices or whatever. And it's just, some stuff is crazy, it's ridiculous. Like where are we getting this stuff from? And so this is the kicker. In Chinese, "黑鬼" is a derogatory term toward black people or people of darker skin color. So this is not just like Africans or African Americans. Even dark Chinese people could be called 黑鬼. And it just basically means dark ghost. But it's a, condescending term or whatever. But Google was like, you know what? We're gonna translate this to English, and I didn't pick American English, so English in general, and we're going to translate Haegway to the N-word. Okay, I get it, you're trying to make it culturally relevant or whatever, even though I don't agree with that. Why is the translation the slang version of the N-word? Like they didn't even go with the technical term, they just, yeah, we're just gonna go with the colloquial use of this. So of course, if a Chinese person is Google translating, they're gonna be saying these words. Yeah, Google, you messed up on this one. I mean, not that you have a great track record anyway, but this one, whew. All right, so those are all the fun photos and translations and craziness that I've seen while living in China. Make sure you check out all those other videos. I have a link in the description below. And if you are living in China, or if you're a Chinese person living in America and you come across crazy signs or mistranslations, leave comments below, let us know your experiences. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. And so this one's really funny because I don't know what the Chinese is. That's why it's funny. I don't but the Chinese is Jingwu. Oh gosh, I don't know what that says either.